I'm here record. First off, I would like to say the little Minecraft video that's being shown down in the corner over here, or down in the bottom right here, is by BB Switzer. Posted 5 years ago during the peak of quarantine, whenever we would listen to those like Minecraft parkour videos, okay? But in the background, it's just non-copywritten jazz noir music, okay? Okay. Being said, let's restart and let's get in the zone. Okay. I am currently recording this on one device and I am posting it live on another. Hello, thank you for joining. The reason why I'm recording it is because I know, unfortunately, that some of like my bigger, like people who have been with me and watched my shit the longest have been loving CCP, want everything to do with CCP, and yada yada yada, this, that, and the third, right? Right. So, my goodness, let's see if this will work. 'Cause I need this propped up so that way I can see what's happening. Oh my god! Oh my god! Help! 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 Help me! I got a clue in the world. Maybe I'll just have to hold it like a tablet. A little iPad kid that I am. But I need to look at this. I don't know. What if I switched everything? It's too late to do that. Okay. We'll just have to go with it. Oh boy. Whew. Okay. What am I doing? This jazz music. I can't deal with this jazz music. I need silence right now. I'm a little overstimulated. Okay. So, what we are doing here, what we are doing in this live slash recording, because I'm recording this and I'm going to post it to YouTube so that way people who don't get to see all of this live can watch it on YouTube, because I know there's a lot of people who will miss some things, so that way it can all be digested in one go. I am recording this and I am streaming it live because I said I would. Today we are talking about the mind boggle that was my idea. Cranium Creations Preservation, also known as Conway's Creature Creation. It was a passion project that I had on the side that I was absolutely obsessed with for a good fucking minute. It had a whole storyline, it had multiple characters, and it was working alongside Welcome Home, which is a passion project of party coffins slash clown illustrations passion project. Welcome Home. Basically, puppets in the 60s, 70s, a lot of gore, a lot of derealization, yada yada yada. Okay? It's horror. Okay? So, trigger warning, content warning right now. This talk show, this live, this video, this episode, whatever you want to call it, will features talks of gore, manipulation, derealization, horrible science projects, murder, death, like a lot of bad stuff. Okay, I do not condone any of these actions. I did not say you should do any of these actions. In fact, I want to tell you not to do these actions. Please don't ever do these actions. That being said, let me tell you about the puppets slash humans that I made perform these actions. So here we go. Do we want to talk about, like, do we want to start with the main man who run this show, who did it all? Do we want to start with Terry, or do we want to start with any of the other characters you see? Because there is a timeline. As you can see, like, over here, you can see, like, the times, the when they were created slash born to when they died, yada yada yada. Like, there's a lot of different stuff. So where do we want to start? Five, four, three, two. Terry or Rodney? Okay, I see two Terrys. We got a Terry and a Rodney. Any more? Can I get any more going on up here? Any interaction at all? Terry it is. Okay. So we'll start from Terry's point of view. I wrote a whole fucking thing for this guy because obviously he's the main face man, main man of the show, yada yada. It is a whole story, y'all. This bitch has 3.5 pages alone. Okay, and there will be a lot of reading and a lot of talking. So if you have a work in progress that you're working on right now, or if you've got homework, hell, plug me in your ears and go do your chores right now. Because if not, you will be sitting here and you will just be watching someone play parkour Minecraft and my bitch ass talking while I drink some nice, delicious chocolate milk that helps my immune system. Okay? So, let us begin. Terry Townsend was created by Hubert H. Rochfort in 1969 alongside Steeman. His original purpose was to provide a jealousy episode so that the children could learn about complex emotions and how to resolve them. This episode would feature him coming to Welcome Home on a train, Steeman, to visit Barnaby. Wally would then get jealous, feeling that he was being replaced with Terry and Barnaby's eyes. By the end of the episode, all problems would be resolved through a conversation. However, the writers of Welcome Home, Jacques Rochfort, were stumped on how to write Wally as jealous. These characters are not canon. I should actually say that real quick. Hold up. These characters are not canon. They are just increasingly tied into the story. On the Tumblr, which I really should have that pulled up too. Hold up. Let me just Huh? Hold on. Apparently, I have not been on my Tumblr in so fucking long that it kicked me out. Even though I was just on it the other day. Silly, silly, silly. But none of these characters are canon to Welcome Home. They are all my characters. They're not Clown's characters. Like this, the only thing that is related to Clown is the entire universe and some of the characters. But this storyline I'm about to tell, not canon at all. This shit is fake as fuck. Let's see if I can figure out this Tumblr situation. Oh, fuck. I don't even remember which account I used. Ah! Yeah, I wanted... Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Hello? Hello? Por favor. Did I use this one? I don't remember anything. I'ma just reset my password real quick. Hold up. This is gonna take a second. I don't think you guys can see any of this, which is cool. Da, 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 da. And one more time. Ah, you fucking whore! Let me go! I want to break free. Ah, what? This isn't it? Or are you stupid? Am I stupid? Guys, I think this is already going scruffed. I knew it would be scuffed. I gave y'all a pre-warning. Let me in. Nope, this is not it. Gosh darn it. Ah, what account was it? Let me out. Let me out. I want to go home. Son of a bitch. Doesn't help that since I have so many tabs open and everything, my computer is running like ass. Ah, fuck it. We're just not gonna have it. No Tumblr. Uh-oh. Anyways. Let me see if I can tolerate the jazz now. Like a very soft level. It'd be a little louder for you guys. And then I'll just turn my headphones down. Here's a thought, close some of them. No. You guys can make jokes at me. You don't understand. It's fine. Anyways, let's get back to business, okay? So, yes, none of this is canon. It's gonna sound really canon because it's super intertwined. It's not fucking canon. Anyways, okay, so the writers of Welcome Home, Jacques Roquefort, were stumped on how to write Wally is jealous because, you know, he's kind of a ditzy little clown dude. He's a little stupid, okay? But with his friendly and aloof personality, they were confused on how to create such a warm character subconsciously resent another character he'd get along well with. This would lead to the writer's resentment of Terry. They pushed him down and aside, calling the character, the idea, dead. Terry was initially scrapped until a paper got out to the public. The public fell in love with Terry and couldn't wait for his arrival to the show. The writers were forced to incorporate Terry into the show, along with Steeman, who they liked more. They called it his revival in the episode Wally's Judas Moment. Basically, that's not the episode's actual name. The episode's actual name is, God, I don't know if I named it something old, something new, something blue, or if I named it Wally's Green Emotion, but it was basically, it's not the episode's name. This is like the little bit of Christianity that's involved because I wanted to incorporate all elements of Welcome Home. So like the beta Welcome Home was going to be based around like a religious cult idea, and I kind of wanted to just implement a little dash of religion every now and again. Nothing major, just as like a sprinkle into this. And so like basically Terry is Jesus in this comparison. This is not real. Oh, so like your mental stability. Yeah, no shit. I spent a little under a year making fake puppets for another fake puppet show. This was a fake inside of a fake. Which, it's gonna get worse, y'all. Okay, like, this is gonna get sad real fast, because I just remember what I did with Terry. Okay. So, he was scrapped, right? Because of the audience's love, Terry and Steeman were no longer puppet, but now like a sentient creature made of fabric and cloth. They basically turned into a Muppet. He walked around just like the other members of Welcome Home and had the same experiences as this. Only his memory was a bit different. Before his introduction to the show, Terry fully remembers a life before that he never had. A horrible household that caused him to run away multiple times. He'd hang out at the local park where he met Barnaby and became great friends. Miss Beagle called CPS on his parents and then adopted him. Barnaby and Terry became brothers as they grew up. They went their separate ways, not for disdain or hate, but because their dreams were different. Terry wanted to provide for his family, and Barnaby wanted to bring joy to the world. Terry considered Barnaby's dream an act of good deeds, and that's how he makes people pay for his train tickets, by doing a good deed for somebody else. Which is where the whole, like, you gotta be good if you want to get on my train kind of situation came from. But he started his work on the railway, starting from nailing down tracks and working his way up to a conductor. On his first job, he was assigned to take cargo shipments to a small little town where Barnaby lived. But that night, as he checked each cargo box for any stowaways, he had found some. Now, first off, I would never make my OCs unless it was absolutely necessary for the story. I would never make my MC OC like a horrible person. They will usually be kind 9 times out of 10. So, Terry falls into that category. Terry is kind. He was going to offer the stowaways some rations and then let them stay on until the next stop. But not all conductors are as nice as Terry. Before he could speak with a calm tone, one lunged at him, fucking throwing hands. A fight ensued, and they somehow ended up on the roof of the train, like it was an action scene movie. I think it's because Terry tried to run by climbing up, and they followed. Nonetheless, Terry had, like, subdued 2/3 of the attackers, but one was beyond understanding. Each attack was like a hit to kill. What happened? The fucking thing started shooting crickets at me. Is everything okay? Is everything alright? Should I close out of a few tabs? I'll close out of a few tabs. The jazz has got to go. No more jazz. Is everything okay? Is everything good? Are we okay? Hi Wolf, we're talking about CCP. Don't worry, I'm recording it so everything you missed will be posted to YouTube, but you haven't missed much. We're just talking about Terry and like how he was made, hated, remade, reintroduced, and now we're talking about like how he got cut in half. Okay, so you didn't miss much. Anyways, uh so okay. Once again, if you're just joining now, I suggest you find something to do because this entire stream is just going to be me yapping about my OCs because I am, unfortunately, for the ones who love it, stopping an entire work project because I have another one that I really, really want to work on and that I love so, so much that is my own story. And on top of that, I kind of fell out of obsession slash love with Welcome Home. So, like, but because I know some of you guys enjoy it, I'm explaining it here. So, like, grab headphones, do a chore, do something. You're gonna want to do something while you listen to this, or else you're gonna get bored out of your noggin. Got it. Let's go. Okay. So where were we? Right, Terry had subdued two-thirds of the attackers because he was getting attacked on top of the train. One was beyond understanding, and each attack from this guy was like a hit to kill. So Terry literally had like no choice but to push him overboard at the front of the train. He could not believe what he'd done. He's never killed a man before in his life. He used to tap dance on Polar Express. Like, he doesn't do this shit. So he looked over to see if maybe the violent man had survived. His foot was pulled out from under him, and the train cut him in half, severing his torso and arms at the lower ribs and just above the elbow. Pieces were strewn mercilessly about the place where he thought he saw organs, something cotton and stuffing like bleared in and out of focus in his vision. He heard a voice. Many and drenched in temptation. I was like, Manny? What? Many as an amount. Many and drenched in temptation. It beckoned him to listen. It pointed out his rough shape and promised to make it all go away with a second chance. It was made out of a dark fuchsia fading to happy yellow smoke. Fog, maybe even a wisp. A golden watch held gently in its red and green palm. It promised a second chance, and with a kiss, Terry woke up in a hospital bed. His memory is foggy, like steam smoke. He rested up and continued on with his life, bearing what he saw, what he heard, keeping that ticking watch close as it intertwined with his very life. Hiding the magical prowess of the palms on his hands, he found Steeman in a junkyard. He started his own business, and in the midst of repairing the old engine, he had given it life. Unsure and unknowing, he did not question. Maybe the haze had something to do with it, but he took care of the engine like it was his own child. Terry then became the CEO of his business and set up a one-engine station in Welcome Home where he personally visited. No one else. And his 2 episodes vacations to him aired, he'd go back to his regular life, quote unquote, regular life of filing papers, making production stops, filing papers, and sleep. Each time he thought about another vacation to Welcome Home, something happened, forcing him to stay and maintain his work to ensure it functioned like a well oiled engine. He'd always tell Seaman about his wants for a vacation. He'd notice this pattern, and then he'd notice other patterns. How every couple of weeks he's been re signing the same papers. At first, he believed it was a reassurance, like on agreements and trades, but it all became too repetitive. And it was really out of character for him to feel this uneasy with repetitive nature, and he didn't like it. It started to feel very, very wrong. So one night, as he's sitting at his desk, he gets an idea. He packs up his bags, wakes up Steeman, who is alarmed, but Steeman, being a loyal engine and trusting Terry, follows his father's lead. They set out quietly on the track to Welcome Home. It was a tunnel, typically dark and long for a few minutes at least. But as they went through it this time, they were met with could only be described as behind the scenes at Hollywood. Cobwebs clouded lenses cameras as broken set pieces were knocked over. Chairs were broken apart and tattered. It was all dusty, dark, and abandoned. He felt his whole reality start to crumble as memories he never knew existed flooded his mind. He started to question his own reality and what was real. As they neared their destination, Steeman had to stop. The tracks that led to Welcome Home ended, blocked off and boarded up. The tunnel to that happy, quaint town didn't exist anymore. He searched around, finding old papers of a design he considered his past. Dark suits matched dark eyes, once happy and alive, and then his redesign, quote unquote redesign, he considered his healing stage. Blue suit with dead eyes of a shell of a man, a shell of a puppet. That he had found his whole storyline and purpose. He found the fucking writing. His whole life was planned and written out. Was it even real? Has his whole life been a lie? Has his entire friendship with Barnaby been a lie? Did Miss Beagle even love him like a son? Was he even family? Did the neighbors in Welcome Home truly even see him as a friend? Was he just for show? He wanted answers. He took the axe from inside Steeman's cabin, because that's very something that a lot of engines have, is like an axe to break down doors. And he got an axe. Steeman's cabin and began to hack away at the boards. The once metal axe thumped against the wood like plastic. It was plastic. It was fake. But it had been real that morning when he chopped wood for Steeman. He headed back to his little town where he does all of his work, and with his new eyes found that everything was fake. The papers were fraudulent, the stops and stations of peoples and passengers were disguises, and the wood he chopped was pre-chopped, not even real wood. Voice in boxes and machines, all to keep him trapped inside a merry-go-round of illusions, which is what his building is called. His whole existence of 30 years was a lie. How old was he? What year was it? The calendar in the drawing office said 75, but time must have passed since then. The days stopped counting, but time continued on. How long has it been since his last quote-unquote vacation? Hello! I'm currently spilling all of the juicy lore and tea of CCP since it's coming to an end, and I'm explaining what it was going to be entirely, because I had the majority of it planned out. I just could not finish working on it. It does? Boo! Fuck, why? Ugh. Hold on. But that's Terry's story. Terry's whole thing is like, oh, guys, and of course, if the stream is like messing up for you, I am currently recording it right now on OBS Studio. So, like, if you missed some things, if you haven't seen some things, it'll be posted on YouTube in like a day or two. Yeah, OMG, hi YouTube! Everybody say hi YouTube! By the way, I should say, all of the ones and colors are people who I've written for. So, like, their stories have been written out. I don't think I wrote for Hubert yet. No, I haven't. But here you can see like Terry Townsend, Steeman, Donald Conway, which is Christopher Christmas. Hello. Nancy Martinez, Louis Rockfort, which is Barry Rocksmith. Hello. Hubert H. Rockfort, which is Rodney Rocksmith. Hello. Annette Rockfort, which is Angelique Rocksmith. Hello. Jacques Rockfort, which is Woodrow Woody Walker. Maria Martinez, Selena Champini. Vincent Conway, Count Clifford Calloway, Daniel Mateo Martinez, Bartholomew, Manny Maintenance, and then Sacco. Hey, Rodney Mater! Yes, he did. Okay, so let's move on to Christopher Christmas. Christopher Christmas was the little Christmas guy I introduced you guys to. The one that hold the ornament and the ball, the one that you guys saw up in the string of lights, which all images, every single blog that I've ever made is posted to Tumblr right now, like open and everything. So you can scroll all the way down on Tumblr on the Count Calloway post on Conway Creation on CCP. You can scroll down and look, and you can see Christopher. I still mourn emo Rodney. That is so sad. It has been almost 2 years, Wolf. Almost 2 years. No, almost a year. My bad. I'm jumping the gun. It's been almost a year. It's okay though. He's still free to draw. I can't control you if you draw him. But let's talk about Christopher, because his story is even sadder. So Terry's whole story was revolving around basically finding out your entire life is fake and that you were just a funny little creature made for reality. Like funny haha's, like you are not real. Your entire existence is fake. And not only that, but you are a fake inside of a fake. Like I had to take away Terry's fourth wall sentience. I had to take that entirely away to a certain extent. He has it now because he's aware that it's a show, but before he had no fucking clue. Christopher, however, Christopher's a different story. And let me read to you why. It was like Christmas in 1970, an orphanage decorated with lights and holiday cheer lit up like the tree in its main room. The children were playing a merry game of hide and go seek, and when all were called for by the head caretaker, they were when all were called for by the head caretaker, they were going out to the street to carol. All bundled up and all cozy, each child had a stocking, mittens, and a coat provided by a generous donation. They were going to go sing for that charitable man tonight. As their voices carried through the air singing happy tunes of Christmas joy, something in the man's heart ached with regrettable twinge. He pulled the head caretaker aside. He pointed... Yeah, this is Donald. Okay, I was like, does this count? No, it's Donald. He pointed to one of the kids, a smaller little boy, about 11 or 12. Blonde hair fuzzed out of his too small stocking cap as he and his friends tried to listen intently to the adult's low-hush conversation. The caretaker's eyes lit up with joy. She called him over. She told him, Donald, that is, that Mr. Conway was going to adopt him. Donald couldn't have been happier. He always wanted a father, and he hoped for a mother. Weeks passed as papers were signed and regulations were met. Donald Conway came home into a mansion. Butler flailed helplessly to remove the new young master's coat as Donald ran up the stairs. Hurriedly meeting him halfway was a joyous father who greeted his new son with open arms. He was older, but lively. How could he not be with all the plans he had in his head? Donald didn't care, however. He didn't look like a shriveled up grape and was able to pick him up in a spin. He was happy to have a father. They spent Christmas together, a whole week of sleigh rides, snowball fights, hot chocolate, even visits to his old orphanage where he got to brag and play with his friends. Such a delightful week. One night, as the moon was high, Donald had no rest. Filled with the joy he couldn't believe his luck. This is what he always dreamed of, a loving home with someone to call family. And even if there was no mother, there was a father who loved him like a mother, read him stories and made him meals. He couldn't wait to start school. He crept out of bed and down the halls. All the maids and butlers had laid down in their quarters. It was late. He crept up to his father's room. The door was cracked, a light illuminating in, a desk lamp. There, hunched over and looking a mess, his father. Donald had never seen him like this, his face sunken in and solemn. In the shadows, he looked 10 years older. The door hinges creaked as he stepped in. His father was alerted to the noise. He turns around. Donald sees his father's saddened surprise dissipated as quickly as it came. He opened his arms and beckoned Donald to come up closer. He enveloped the boy in a hug and asked him what he was doing at this hour. Donald confessed his happiness. His father hummed and picked him up. With a groan, he carried Donald out to his balcony. He pointed to the stars. Donald looked up high. His father lifted him up high. And as Donald felt the wonders of joy and happiness fill his soul, he was pushed. No. Thrown. Thrown over the edge of the balcony, falling down and staring up at the stars. He saw his father drop to his knees behind the balcony ledge. As he fell, he wondered why. He wonders if it was his fault, if it was an accident. He was confused, yet there was still a remnant of happiness. Maybe there was a padded mat he'd land on, and his father would jump over and join him. His head hit the pavement. Red blood leaked into the cold snow and across ice over paths. The cold night air was visible in his last breath. Vision fades to black. Christopher wakes up in a jolt. The same dream every night. He was an orphan boy in a body that was not his own. He gets adopted, his father kills him, and he didn't know why this plagued him. He felt like Scrooge, constantly getting bombarded by ghosts that were not his own. He stretched and greeted his holiday haven, a town where Christmas Day was every day. All themes from colorful to traditional to haunting to beige. He loved all Christmas, even if some held a special place in his heart more than others. He looked at the ornaments on his tree, one he had made with Terry all those weeks ago. He thought of visiting that old Grinch once again, bringing Christmas cheer into that cold heart once more. Christopher knew that Terry liked him, else he would have been kicked off the train. Christopher stepped outside after bundling up. Snow felt gently as he greeted his neighbors with merry warmth, a smile on his face as he waves and a wave in his hands. As he looks around the town, something burning caught his eye. Smoke billowed from a house, but it wasn't out of a chimney. He panicked, but others stayed calm, as if the fire was normal, slowly swallowing the house in flames. Normal like the candle dipping he partook in that burning shop. He rushed in, grabbing buckets of ice to put out the flames, but it wasn't working. The fire grew and spread to the snow. The snow? He found that peculiar. It traveled along at a steady rate as if it was burning cloth. He watched as it spread to his neighbors who didn't even glance and walked down the same path they did every day. The friar called up the gowns of carolers, burned down the gazebos. He listened to their songs distort and melt away in the flames. Amidst his town burning down to ash, so was his reality. Behind him he saw an open factory filled with dust and mold, dirty and abandoned. Bugs and spiders crawled around and away from the flames amidst to where he was standing. Didn't know what to think. He stepped out of his Christmas town where he shared cheer with friends. The kids are burning to melted piles. The fire stayed contained with his world, his burning world. He watched it all go in a blaze and wondered if his 26 years of life were a waste. What was he? Who was he? He wandered aimlessly through the factory once his Christmas town was no more. When the music stopped playing its burning demonic tunes, when the fire dwindled to nothing, he saw devices he's never seen before. Big and blocky, with a circle of glass at the end. There was an eyepiece he tried to look through, but fell back when a spider, like one he's never seen, launched at him. He rattled some boards which caught the attention of a voice in the distance. It called out. He didn't know whether to run and hide or to run to it. It sounded feminine and brave, hesitant but confident. He was paralyzed with indecisiveness that when he tried to make a move, around a corner appeared a creature he's never seen before. A creature that looked like what he was from his dreams. He was frightened and scared, but the woman in a yellow and brown striped dress got low to calm him down. She soothed him with words, calling out his name. How did she know his name? He tried to sign. She didn't understand. He started to search around, causing a frantic scene of running in and out of rooms, till he came to a drawing room filled with sketches of blurred visions he did not care about at that moment. Who was this creature? How did she know his name? He wrote down his question with a spare pencil, scribbly and sloppy. She could barely read it. They talked. Well, his mouth was stitched up shut, so their own form of talking. He wrote, she responded. He learned a lot that day. His visit with Terry was a part of a show called Welcome Home. That's when his nightmares began to happen. After he saw the humans behind those cameras, that's why he knew it was an eyepiece. That's why it looked familiar. He remembered recording for that show. He was told it's to bring Christmas cheer to children around the world. How could he say no? Only to learn the show went under 2 years later, and he was locked up in a fake town for over 30 years. He was as old as the man in his dreams. Who was that man in his dreams? He joined this human woman, named Nancy, in her search of secrets this old place buried. He learned that there was another organization doing exactly what they were doing. Welcome Home Restoration Project. It just focused more on the main characters, less of what he found out he was, the side characters. He wanted to help her find as many as they could. They set up a little blog page called Cranium Creations Preservation, called that after the company that worked alongside the Playfellow Factory in making the side characters for their show. He now draws and collects anything they deem useful. They want to uncover Welcome Home and all its secrets. So, that's Christopher Calloway. Not Christopher Calloway, excuse me. Well, yeah, Christopher Calloway. So to explain Donald Conway, Donald when he was Christopher, well, Christopher when he was a human was named Donald. He was 12-year-old boy at the time. He was an orphan. He got adopted by, Conway, and then he got murdered by Conway. For reasons he's unaware of at the time I was writing this. And as we go up with the character line, you'll find out more and more. But bro definitely got murdered. R.I.P. to Shoddy. Uh, let's see. Oh right, Nancy is one of the only human characters that did not get turned into a puppet. I think the only human character that did not get turned into a puppet. In this story, she's basically like the April O'Neil of this universe. She's nosy, she's sassy, she wants answers, she's a journalist. And she's the granddaughter of Maria Martinez. So, I think the next story I have is for Annette. I'll read like all of the stories I have for the characters that I have already written down, and then I'll have to go into my slobbery little mess of the characters that I do not have written for. Okay, so Annette. Born in 1939 in France, Annette was captured by the drapes and cosmetics of high class fashion. She loved the way the models walked confidently down the aisles in gowns of bold beauty and elegant style. She dreamed of days where she'd walk down the runway and show off the dresses she designed. She would even force her little brother into makeshift runway shows. In 1962, she and her brother, glued at the hip since they were kids, moved to America, dynamic duo of charming and charismatic versus cold and reserved brother and sister. On her visit to her brother's workplace, to surprise him with her presence, she's introduced to a disheveled, greasy blonde man, skittish and shy, inadvertent to eye contact. His brother seems so persistent in his colleague. Annette agreed to one date if it meant getting her brother to never be persistent about a suitor ever again. Her brother had always done this, pull aside a poor, unfortunate souls for her to look down upon, overconfident, overzealous, overbearing. But as she sat across the table with a man who cleans up well, she found similarities in their creative minds. It was very different from the more or less so suitors her brothers put before her. More shy, intimidated, but yet he still tried. It was like a lioness letting a skittish hyena nitpick from a fresh kill. She found it kind of cute. And this cuteness delved into something deeper, something sealed with a ring, and then a child. She was nervous when telling her husband about their pregnancy. She feared that he would tie her down and force her to become the model example of an American housewife. She felt a little foolish when he didn't even make any mention. She had to ask, and he was offended she thought so plainly of him. They weren't the perfect model of an American family. He was an artist and she was an immigrant. But they were more than perfect in his eyes, and he couldn't wait to have a family. By the way, you do have to remember this is the 60s/70s. Oh my god, it was a horrible time to be alive. 10 years fly by so fast. Their son died in 1972. Car accident. Always keep an eye on your children. Mothers and wives would unravel in their husbands' arms after such a tragedy, but Annette found herself reclusing. She was there when he had lost an eye at work, there when he had restless nights and terrible dreams. She was his rock. She didn't want to show how fragile she was, even if he begged her and knew of the pain she must feel, that they both felt, the pain that they shared. She filed for a divorce and spat venomous lies from her lips. Her heart ached as she denied her love for him. She cried in the car, realizing what she had done. A year later, her heart and brain fought with a letter she had received. He never changed his name, nor moved from that house. Did he not see the body of their son lying limp in the streets? Did it not make him sick? By the looks of their once garden, it in fact did take a toll. She sat down, had dinner. They bonded. She missed this. She missed him. But she had moved on. At least she'd like to think. But she hasn't laid with another man. She hasn't even thought of another man. At night, she hadn't realized how much she missed him. They are sleeping, BT dubs, nothing else. She laid down that night in the room like they used to, and she woke up the next morning to a locked room. She startled awake. Oh, right, so you have to read See an Angel's Death for further explanation. That's the whole, like, Annette dying and turning into Angelique. We can read that if you guys are cool with it. You're gonna have to give me what's up, Michael. We are delving into the madness that is the entirety of CCP, and we're currently on Annette. Don't worry, I'm currently recording over on OBS Studio, so this will be posted to YouTube, and you'll be able to watch the whole thing. But as of right now, we are with Annette. Like, we're almost finished with Annette. But let's see. So we can read An Angel's Death if you guys would like. Recording. We want to read An Angel's Death. Okay, I will say it's really dark. It's really disturbing. It involves manipulation and stuff. So, like, forewarning. Here is your warning. Okay. Let me pull it up then. Let me pull it up. Angel's Minds. Okay. Days and nights passed as she stayed locked in that room. Days and nights passed as she went without food. The cigarettes and mints she had in her purse only did so much to stifle that nip. Her hunger nipped at the walls of her stomach, which grew into a feverish feast that rampaged through her abdomen. Then it started to nibble on the back of her brain. Her mind slowly falls victim to the jaws of her own hunger. Cigarettes and mints could only do so much. On the 11th day, when she felt she was about to die, the door opened. Weak, but able, she stood up, leaning onto the nightstand, rising from her seating spot on the floor next to the bed. She made eye contact with him. The man she once loved, and deep down still does. His blonde hair was still a mess, but that horrifying, crazed, depraved look was absent. Instead, his eyes carried years of sorrow and months of guilt, and in his hands he carried a tray of food. Pancakes he'd make every other morning for his dearest darling. His voice seemed awkward as he shifted in his shoes. "I've brought you food." He cautiously takes a step forward, not to her, to the bed. He sets it down on the mattress of their old room. "I figured after 11 days of not talking to me, you might be hungry." The bed was still neat. The sheets are still tightly tucked, like they used to be. She doesn't say anything as tears welled in her eyes. She only looks at him and then stares at the food. Her stomach bellows a growl as the sweet scent wafts to her nose. The husband, ex-husband, doesn't say anything and tries to show no emotion. He just steps back to leave the room. Then she jumps. Like a wild animal in a cage, she leaps at him to attack, but his agitation over the years has made him quick. The door is closed and locked by the time she scrapes her nails across the board. She growls in pained anger. Her fist pounded on the door, she screams to be let out, for him to free her, to let her go. That he's insane for keeping her here. But there is no reply. She falls to her knees and begins to cry, body shaking as sobs leave her mouth. Snot filled her nose and dripped into her lap, along with her tears. Yet she can still smell the tempting aroma of the pancakes. On the other side of the door, as she stands up to go eat, he sits with his back to the room, back a mere inch away from the door. He cries silently, a hand over his mouth as tears cascade down his face. His eye socket is pulsating with pain as his head pounds. He always got headaches when he cried. The lady in the room took a bite. Butter and no syrup, just how she liked it. Another bite, this time with the fruit he's paired to the side with it. Grapes, strawberries, and blueberries. Her favorite. How could he forget? Why didn't he forget? She takes another bite. They were always so fluffy, the pancakes. The crisp, buttery outer layer. She swore if she was ever on death row, this would be her last meal. Another bite. Another. And another. She had made a happy plate. A happy plate. What was so happy in these moments? She missed him dearly. Her heart had turned cold and sour when their son had died. She had become so hateful out of grief and lashed it onto him. He was doing everything he could to support her in their time of grieving. She thanked him kindly with a divorce. How cruel was she? She missed her darling dearest. Hubert. She was by the door. Why did she speak? When did she move over there? Staring blankly at the wall, her mind foggy and not in a proper state, spoke for her. If you are there, I've missed you. Why was she saying this? Wasn't she locked up in here by the man she used to call love? Didn't he do this to her? Starve her? Force her to drink from the sink? And yet, she yearned for his touch. The doorknob clicked and she stepped back quick as the door flung open. Outstretched arms pulled her in, a face buried into the crook of her neck. My dear, he sobbed. My dearest darling, how my heart has ached for you so. She hurriedly embraced his hug, sobbing into his chest. They fell into the floor and cried. They should have done this for Louis. They should have done this to save their marriage. They should have done this to save their lives. There they laid, on top of the sheets, on top of the comforter, on their old shared bed, holding each other in their arms, laying in their somber silence, laying together till she fell asleep. And then he stared at her. Her beautiful black hair, her wonderful brown skin, her perfect pinkish lips, and adorable round nose. He stared at her, and he cried. Kissing her lips gently, he pulled her closer and cried himself to sleep. In the morning, when he rose, he found his lover had not moved at all. He hoped to shake her awake. He hoped when shouting her name. He hoped, but with no response came more tears that wailed as he pulled her lifeless body into his lap, his voice screaming in agony. How could he have poisoned her, the love of his life, his wife, the mother of their late child? How could he have killed her? For love, he told himself, rocking back and forth. For love, for love, for love. He kissed her chocolate skin before each cut, raising her beautiful corpse with adoring affection as limbs were severed from joints. He paused between the left shoulder, the right shoulder, the left hip joint, the right hip joint, and the waist, to cry. To hunch over his workbench and sob, to let his body shake, his knees give and fall to the floor, to sob, before wiping his snotty nose with dirty hands, standing back up, and severing again. She always said he made her go from fluttering to flying. Hold up. I didn't see any of this. Recording. What do you mean, recording? Recording what? OMG, that throat clear bursted my... You're so welcome. It's raining outside and my umbrella is losing... What? Oh, thank you for the compliments about the writing. Listen, every now and again I turn into Shakespeare, and that's when the writing is the best. I will say that this is probably one of my best pieces. Goodness, I ain't gonna cap to you, dog. I am pretty proud of it. But so this is Annette / Angelique's death. This is basically how Annette turns into Angelique. And it's because Rodney is cutting her up and turning her into a puppet. Right? And she's already pretty tall to begin with. Like, I wanted Annette to be really, really tall. Maybe it's because almost all the women in my life are really, really tall. But okay, so for Louis, we'd have to read another one. We'd have to read Passage Playing in the Street. Louis is Barry. What up, Mama Joby? We are currently going into the 12s of CCP, which is an absolute nightmare. And there's a lot of trigger warnings of blood, gore, all sorts of things. But do we want to break from sad passages? Because we could go to Maria, but that's also sad. And then we've got Sako, which Cheese helped me write this one. Cheeseburger helped me write this one. It's also sad. There's like no happiness here. It is all sad. Did we want Barry's story? Going once. Going twice. Okay. Alright, let's pull up Playing in the Street. Letting his fate. Playing in the Street. Okay. Everything can change in an instant. A moment. A flash. You could be an adorable puppy playing with your human. Eyes aren't even open yet, and you feel your body swinging. Little boy is spinning you around, happy to be holding you, happy to be loving you. Then your floppy black ears hear something, yelling from an angry lady. The boy jumps. You feel his arms jolt. You feel your body falling. It was a lovely Saturday morning in 1972. A family of three were getting ready late in the morning. Sorry, my dyslexia kicked in. Nothing much was planned for the day as groceries were brought in Thursday, clothes were washed on Tuesdays, and Sundays were game nights, board games, and such. Whatever Louis wanted to do. Ah, yes, Louise. The sweet, rambunctious, lively, energetic 10-year-old boy. He loved to play. Checkers, foursquare, or baseball. He had a knack of mixing the games together to create a whole new game. A very creative boy. He was average in school, but excelled in the baseball team, excuse me. He could take out all the energy he stored up sitting empty-headed in the classrooms, painfully watching each tick-tock of the red hand. School was so boring to him. It wasn't that it was easy, nor was it hard. It just wasn't as fun as hopscotch or kickball. He'd take croquet over memorizing times tables. At baseball, he'd run those horrible laps till his throat burned, till his play clothes were drenched in sweat, playing practice game after practice game, and then go home and play catch with his father Hubert all over again. Oh yes, I forgot about the other members of the Rockford household. Hubert, a hard-working man and a loving father to his wife, Annette, and his son, Louis. Hubert and Annette have playful, light-hearted teasing banters about the pronunciation of their son's name, Louis, or Louis. Annette was originally from France as a self-made model turned fashion designer. She moved to America for opportunities. You'd have to force it out of her, but it was to be closer to her brother. After her parents' unexpected deaths, she turned cold and cruel to the world. She only wanted her darling brother, the last of her family. That's how she met Hubert. Hubert had a relatively normal childhood. Nothing stood out too much, but he was always a creative thinker. He liked to draw and make characters that were better off than he. As he grew up with an unsupported art major, he moved and worked under a growing facility, where he met a team of other creative minds, and a member on that team, the brother, showed Hubert to Annette. It's like that trope of a feeble little man that meets a goddess that every man fantasizes about. She falls head over heels, but not immediately. Remember, loss of loved ones lead to fear of making new ones, just to lose them again. But Hubert fell first, and then Annette fell harder. After a year of mingling, they date and then marry, and then Louis. Louis, who they loved, Louis, who they adored. Louis with tan skin mixed with his white father's and black mother's, dark hair like his mother's, but not coily, forced flat, nor bone straight like his father. Wavy and shaggy, covering the majority of his ears as he smiled up at the world with big green eyes full of play. Skinny legs that kicked a ball back and forth with his father. Soccer was a game he loved to play, easily kicking the ball back and forth, each kick getting progressively harder and harder. The black and white hexagon ball went off course, though, bouncing off a tree and over the fence and into the street. "I'll get it," he hollered, running out of the yard. Tires screech, a horn honks, something gets hit. Someone gets hit. Screaming from the windows, Annette covers her face with a horrified disbelief at the display in front of her. Hubert couldn't see over the cars. He runs to the path of his home and wishes this was a dream. But reality painted a scene. Lying in the street, dark blood pooling as soft fleshy insides turned outward, lay Louis dead. His green eyes are no longer full of fun and play, empty and gloss. They were bloodshot from the bursting vessel in his eyes. Red life liquid dripped from his nose and his lips, a nose to never again breathe fresh air, lips to never say, "I win." Only 10, and his life was over in the flash of a moment. In an instant, everything can falter, and in the moment of falter, it can fall. Where a loving family, within a month, can break into a shell of a father and a cold mother. Annette divorced Hubert by the next month. So, that is unfortunately Barry's death. Barry wakes up, peacefully. He was resting his eyes under the shade of a tree. He had gone climbing and fell out of a tree. He laid there, catching his breath, and then he realized the world looked different from this angle. And then he fell asleep. For who knows how long, but he woke up, peacefully, and then went back home to a loving mother and father. He could play as much as he wanted, learn from both his mother and father. He lived happily in the middle of the woods. You could scream in delight as loud as you want. No one would hear you in these walls of woods. And I forgot to read Annette's, but basically she started awake and she's like holding Rodney at her side because they sleep in the same bed together. And she's like, I just had another bad dream. And Rodney's like, it's okay. You're here. You're at home. You still have your son. You still have me. Everything's fine. And you never had a brother. So basically, Rodney is dead ass gaslighting her. Okay. Now we introduce Maria Martinez. Maria Martinez is Selena Scimpini. That is the connection there. Okay, they are the same person. But I know Michael would like to hear this. It's unfortunate. Michael will just have to watch YouTube. Born in 1939 to a loving family, large family, Maria Martinez was enamored by her culture's beauty and the world of fashion. She wanted to share her Hispanic heritage and inspire designers, maybe even one day design her own work. As she grew up, she set her mind on her career, falling into love second, only to fall out for not being a stay-at-home wife. A single, hardworking mother, she was employed under a rising and esteemed fashionista, one that promised her, personally, a bright future and wondrous opportunity. They bonded over many things: their culture, heritage, and their love for fabrics, motherhood, womanhood, and their love for family. But something tragic happened in her boss's life. Something that made her cold and reserved, stopped pushing the boundaries of her fashion for what she promised the time being, and focused on the public's wants. Then, after a letter, she never saw her boss again. It was a letter from her boss's husband. She guessed, anyway. The signature was Darling Dearest. She had read it. Snooping ran thick in her blood. As she pulled it, crumpled up in the trash, she went to his workplace. She knew of the husband, knew him during and after their marriage, but she didn't know any details. She figured that his letter must have something to do with her boss's sudden absence. She came into the room, politely. She knocked, and he welcomed her in, eye missing and the bags heavier than her dread. She knew he had seen death and lived to tell the tale. I have to pause because my dog is looking very suspicious right now. Lucy says she asked about her boss, what he might have written in the letter. She hadn't heard from his ex-wife for weeks. She confessed. Sad ladies were always a man's weakness. She can't succeed in life on her own. Maybe she should have taken that job from her uncle as a starting chef. That way she'd have something stable. He comforted her, but denied any information regarding his wife, that the letter wasn't from him, and he'd moved as he moved. It hurt his heart to hear that his wife had moved on, and in secret. She started to get frantic, that he knew something he wasn't telling her. Her voice rose, like she did with her feet. She hollered and yelled for the truth. He had to have written the letter. She couldn't believe her boss would hide a new lover from her. What happened to her friend? What happened to his wife? She couldn't have had another lover. He must know what's happened to her and was lying. Men are liars! There was a loud shot, a pain in her body. She staggered forward, a hand held to her chest. Her eyes bleared as something red smeared across her hand. She fell forward, all in an instant, as she thought of her son back at home. He was probably playing with his remote car. He wanted to be a racer. Maybe if she was a cook, he could have been. She peels her eyes awake. What was she just dreaming about? She couldn't recall, and as the warm rays of morning sun greeted her to a new day, so did that familiar sharp pain in her chest. It always came about whenever she stretched her 6 arms up and out, a sharp pain that makes her wince, but she blames it on not mobiling her 6 arms enough. She rinsed and washed her face. A shower every day kept her hard skin from stiffening and crusting up on her. She was a crustacean from the sea who specialized in seafood, Chef Selena Scimpini. The title filled her with pride. She was to cook for Welcome Home today. An aspiring student named Poppy Partridge had a knack for baking, so she set off. Helping a little girl reach her cat in a tree, she paid for her ticket at Terry's station. And then we read the passage Sifting Through Safety, which it's unfinished. Sifting Through Safety, my goodness, I had a whole thing in my head where I like really wanted to like turn it into a video. And like if I were to turn it into a video, I have like the entire thing scripted out like a video. It's just ugh. What'd you miss? Shimpini's whole thing. Maybe we're about to read Sifting Through Safety, which is unfinished, but I will explain what I wanted to happen. So it is written the same way as like one of the secret pages in Welcome Home is written. So like basically how like a video script would be written, like how an old-timey recording set would be written, okay? So, Welcome Home scene, the subject is safety. Fade in. Camera focuses in on a beetle on a branch in the middle of the frame. From the left side of the screen, we see a Wally's hand extend a finger to lift the beetle off the branch and bring it between his eyes. Wally. Hello there, friend. Wally moves down the bug to look at the camera. Wally. And hello to you too, neighbor. Camera zooms out as Wally talks, showing that he is standing behind Home. There's an empty stool and an easel with a half-painted canvas in the back to show he was painting before pausing. Wally. It's good to see you again. I've been doing good and looking forward to seeing you again. How have you been? Wally pauses. That's the most. And we do have something else to look forward to, neighbor. We have a new visitor coming to town. Her name is Selena Shimpini, and she's going to bake with Poppy today. Camera pans over from Wally to Poppy's barn. We see Selena approach the door. Camera switches to show her closer in frame, knocking on the door. There's a clatter of pots and pans as well as Poppy squawks inside the barn. Poppy. Oh, Feathers, give me just a moment. Selena waits, readjusting a case she had brought with her, readjusting her hat, and readjusting her apron, all at the same time with her 6 arms. Selena perks up as the door opens, revealing a skittish Poppy. Selena. Good early noon, Mrs. Poppy. How are you today? She holds out a hand. Poppy glances at it and gingerly shakes it with a gentle bounce. Poppy. Oh, Selena, I wasn't expecting you for another half hour. Your knocking startled me. Poppy covers her beak with a wing as she sheepishly laughs. Selena chuckles with her, just to be kind. Selena. Well, if you had a doorbell, I would have used that. Poppy interjects with a tilt of her head and a wave of her wing. No, that would have scared me too. Please, come in. Selena enters the barn and the camera pans across the barn to black to an inside shot of Poppy's kitchen. On her counter, there are a few floral patterned bowls on the left side where Poppy is standing. On the right, Selena is unloading her briefcase. Wally is sitting at the counter. Selena. So, what did you have in mind to make today? She unties the knots on her baker's kit and begins to unravel it. Poppy. Oh, well, Selena, there's someone I'd like you to meet first. My good friend, Wally Darling. Poppy nods and motions a wing to point at Wally. She continues to introduce Wally to Selena, waving her wing back over to the chef next to her. Wally, this is Selena Shimpini. She's an excellent chef and a pen pal I write to. Selena turns her head sharply over at Wally. Hello, Mr. Darling. She looks back over at Poppy, giving Wally a little time to greet her back as their voices overlap each other. Selena, so what did you have in mind? Wally, hello, Selena. Play laugh track 1. Which, again, it's written as a show script, so you would actually play a laugh track right there. And my goodness, as I was writing this, I was like wanting like little things to happen because Selena is slightly sentient and aware that this is a TV show, but she just ignores it because she's so focused on cooking and teaching. She does not care that it's a TV show or even the hint of a TV show. She just wants to come in, cook, teach, educate, and get out and go home. Like, she only cares about cooking. Okay. Poppy starts to speak, pulling out a cookbook from underneath her counter. Poppy, well, I was thinking I'd show you my recipe on my everything seed muffin. It's a personal favorite of mine, and I'd like some feedback. Poppy lays the cookbook onto the counter with a soft thud. She opens the pages and flips through them, skimming, a feather across the page. Selena, next to Poppy, opens her baker's kit dramatically with a flourish. She reveals a case holding rubber spatulas, whisks of various sizes, measuring cups, measuring spoons, and all sorts of baking utensils. Both Poppy and Wally look at the array in wonder. Poppy, oh my, that is quite an array of tools you have there. She peers in a little closer, but keeping her distant. Wally leans in, hands on the edge of the counter. Camera cuts to an overhead shot where we all see the tools organized neatly, including a few knives where Poppy's feather scans over and then immediately pulls back. The camera cuts to a front-facing shot. Poppy is holding her feathers to her chest, looking skittish and fearful. Wally and Selena look at Poppy. Poppy. Oh dear, such dangerous utensils. Will we be using those? She tilts her head, looking between the knives and Selena. Selena. Well, do you cut up the seeds in your everything seeds muffin? Selena asks, two hands idle and clasp over each other as another two pull out whisks and spatula. The last two remain folded behind her back. Poppy. Oh no, much too dangerous. I crushed them in a bag using a rolling pin. Poppy pulls out a rolling pin. Wally nods his head. Wally. That does seem safer than using a knife. Poppy nods and agrees. Selena hums in uncertainty. Wally looks over at her. Selena. If it's safety you're worried about, how about I do the chopping? Selena suggests, feeling confident in her reply, but Poppy places two worried wings in the arms of her friend. Poppy. But what if you cut yourself? I can't imagine. No, I don't want to imagine an accident happening to a dear friend in my kitchen. Poppy's feathers start to ruffle as she clucks and worries. Selena places a reassuring hand on Poppy's wings, the other few placing the bag underneath the counter. Selena. You forget I have skilled hands, and to reassure you... Hello? Oh no. Ah! Cheeseburger called me and I had to inform them of the situation. No, Selena really is unbothered by kind of like everything. I love Selena so much. She's like the most unbothered autistic character I've ever created. I wanted her to be like a sharp-witted Wally Darling, TBH. Selena and Terry are best friends, by the way. They would be such good friends if they ever met. They would be the bestest of buds. They would be like the two bitches that sit in the corner and judge you. Yes, they do. They do. They're so judgmental. Okay. Camera cuts to a close-in shot of... Oh, Selena, you forget I have skilled hands, and to reassure you, I can wear some gloves. Camera cuts to a close-in shot of the gloves as Selena talks a little faster in a quick, informal voice. Selena, safety gloves provided by Howdy's Place, the safest gloves you can buy when you're messing with knives. Poppy seems hesitant, but more willing. Poppy, all right, that does seem safer, and I'm all about safety. The camera pans into zooms in on Poppy, who's holding up a finger and talking to the viewer. Poppy, it's better to be safe than sorry. She affirms with a nod and looking at Wally off screen. Camera cuts back out to the main scene. Wally is nodding along with Poppy as Selena sides the gloves on her 6 hands. Selena, good point. It is better to be safe than sorry, and knives are sharp, so let's be careful. Now, Poppy, what will we need? Selena turns to Poppy as she motioned to the knives. Once she was done talking, Poppy reaches under the counter again to pull out already prepped ingredients. She bumps her head against the counter with a thud. Selena reached to rub the top of her friend's head. Poppy, embarrassed. Oh, gracious me, I'm so clumsy. Selena, I can see why you're so careful now. But what have you graciously prepped for us today? Selena turns her attention away from Poppy to the small bowls not placed in a line on the counter. Camera cuts to a close shot of the bowls where Poppy points... Oh, small bowls now placed in a line, where the Poppy points to each ingredient and lists their name. Poppy. Well, we have poppy seeds, peeled sunflower seeds, striped in black, sesame seeds, white proso millets, and azure thistles, as well as some flour, sugar, baking soda, milk, eggs, and peanut butter to help stick it together. The camera cuts back to the front-facing shot. Selena is inspecting each ingredient and letting Poppy have control of the kitchen, only stepping in when she needs be. Poppy, frightened by most of the kitchen utensils, hands a bowl to Selena. Poppy, if you don't mind, I'd like to watch your technique. Could you mix the ingredients together? Selena nods her head. She picks up the flour bowl and pulls out a sifter. Selena, of course. Worried clucks come from Poppy as Selena pours the bowl over the mouth of the sifter. She squawks with a cry. Poppy, insistent. Wait, let me get you a towel. Would you like another apron? I'll get you another apron. Poppy leaves no time for Selena to intervene. Pulling a spare rag off of the handle, she lays it under the bowl where the flour would be sifted. Then she grabs another apron and puts it on for Selena. Camera pans and zooms in as Poppy ties the apron around Selena's waist. Camera pans to Selena's face as she stares at Wally. She doesn't say anything, but her body language should read, "Help!" Poppy sighs, her anxiety soothed, as she returns to her original spot. Poppy, satisfied. There. Now there will be minimal mess. Selena looks at Poppy up and down, and then at the pink heart apron that clashed with her professional attire. Selena, I understand the counter, but Poppy, white flour on my white clothes? Poppy, defensive. Well, I didn't want you to be dirty. White on white, it's still a powder. Wally nods his head as Poppy glances between him and Selena, mostly for reassurance. Wally, a kind neighbor, will always support his friends. Selena books between Poppy and Wally. She huffs, defeated. All right, I suppose. And it ends there because I never finished it. But basically, what was going on through the episode, written on script, it's just a normal episode of like Selena and Poppy just cooking. Like it's just a Rachel Ray show, America's Test Kitchen, if you will. Yes, a script. But America's Test Kitchen, if you will, okay? And it's just that entire episode. However, if this was recorded and there were puppets or it was animated or something like that, there are notes here that are completely different on what would happen. For example, in the part where Poppy bumps her head, right here, where Poppy bumps her head, that would not happen in recording. In recording, Selena would have placed one of her hands underneath where Poppy would have bumped her head to soften the blow. And Poppy would have been like, oh, that would have been bad, and continued on with the show. Or she would have completely discarded the knives and only said, well, you are right, we will not use knives and we will only use the rolling pin. Instead, let me show you these gloves that you could use if you do not have a rolling pin, because Howdy, loves that free promo, and then puts it back. So, like, they wouldn't use the knives at all in the recording. And basically, as the recording goes on, it would glitch in and out. There'd be static. Some secret messages would be laid in underneath. There'd be flicks of, like, gore in the kitchen. Wally is staring at you deadpan. The kitchen goes silent. Wally takes control or something. Like, I wanted some scary shit to happen with this, but I knew I would never ever be able to make it. But God, if I could make one thing from this, I would make this, or I would make like the Terry's merry-go-round of illusion, his little hole that he's trapped in. Yeah, no, this was like one of the ideas. Like Selena's whole thing, like as the levels go on, it gets more and more intense and crazy. Like Terry and Steeman are some of the softest like tragedy OCs I have. Like their tragedy is like the littlest of them. But as you go more, it gets crazier. And this is Selena. By the way, it's not a shame. It's a private thing because I'm very soft about my OCs, but I ship Selena and Poppy so much. I ship cutthroat autistic girly with soft gentle anxiety girly. Okay? They are my everything. Because Maria hates men. She didn't know it, but she was bisexual. Huh. Oh right, this was the whole. Oh yeah, this is what Coda sent me. This is what Coda sent me. I was like, what is this? I don't remember making this. That's because I never made it. Duh. Yes, they're lesbians. Let's go, lesbians. Let's go. They're one of my favorite ships. Another like soft spot ship that I have that like it's not canon to the lore or nothing. It's literally like it's not a crack ship, but it's like a non-canon ship, one that I do for shits and giggles and shiz. It's Howdy and Terry. Like I also love them. I love the hardworking workaholic dudes. But I also love Terry and Christopher. You don't understand. Terry, I don't know why, but I love being like, yeah, no, Terry's personality literally matches with almost any character you put him with. And then I made him Arrow Ace. I love it so much because he cannot get into a relationship. He can't. His work is too busy. He literally just cannot get into a relationship. That's exactly what I'm saying. He's doomed by me. He will forever be doomed. But now we get on to Sako. Sako, okay, so something I should say, character lists. down here, Manny Maintenance was a maintenance man, and the reason he was made in the first place was to keep up with Terry Townsend's Merry-Go-Round of Illusions and Christopher Christmas's Christmas Town. Basically, to keep up with the maintenance on them to make sure that like they didn't burn down, nothing was found out, yada yada. But obviously, it did burn. Don't tell me my dog is barking right now. Hold up. Hopefully that worked. I scolded him. I gave him a firm talking to. But obviously they burned down and they got to. Oh my god. I love how the moment when I talk is the moment he just. I kicked them outside, so I don't have to worry about them. But as I was saying, so let me just share this real quick. Okay, where was I? Yeah, he is so jealous of his multiverse selves. Honestly, they all have something he cannot have. Canon Terry is never in a relationship. No matter how much I may ship him, never a canon relationship. But so many maintenance. Obviously, something happened to him because Christmas Town burned down, and Terry found his way out of the Merry-Go-Round of Illusions. And Sako is his little side companion. So we're going to be seeing the story from Sako's eyes, real quick. Okay. This is the like I literally sat down and worked with Cheese on this. Like we sat down, like we typed out a rough draft and then I went back and cleaned it up, gave it a little bit more element to it. But this was their idea entirely. Okay. His conscious breathed life one morning as he was responding to something mid-sentence. He was droning on about a mindless topic when he stopped. He stared wide-eyed with wonder at someone he knew, someone who was an old friend, his puppeteer. Manny the maintenance puppet has loved him into life. Like a neighbor sparing a cup of sugar, Manny had spared Sako some of his remaining love, subconsciously. They had guessed the love came from the spare love Manny had received from the thankful and relieved workers from the remnants of the Playfellow factory. But as all things do, things change. Changed for the worse. One day, winded and easily tuckered out, Manny sat down on the side of the wall, halfway between Christmas Town and the Merry-Go-Round of Illusions. Sako asked what the holdup was for. Manny said he just needed a rest. And Sako, seeing his friend in a disheveled state, didn't protest. Manny rested his eyes against the rubble of the abandoned factory. Sako looks at the puppet that gave him life, that used to puppet him like a sock. He nudges his partner in crime, his brother in bonds. Dreaded Veer sinks in. He came by, day after day, giving a voice to the still rainbow monster. It's time to wake up, he would say. We have work to do. And then, in a low, mocking tone, I'm tired today. Well, you said that yesterday, bud. He would get no response. And in response, curl up next to his only friend. Okay, maybe just 5 more minutes. As the days passed, Manny stayed resting. Sako believed it must have slipped Manny's mind to tell him that rainbow monsters of his breed hibernate. Then the bugs came crawling. First, little ants and beetles Sako could fend off. But the bigger spiders and crawling centipedes nipped and burrowed in the foam and stuffing of Manny's body. Sako believed that Manny would be okay. He's had full face blasts of hot steam to the face and scathed by with just bad hair. Manny could handle this. Then his arm fell off. The bugs bore through, and in a maddened state of defending his friend, Sako undid the knot that kept the scraps of fabric and trash chunks of foam inside. As his body lost its plump in a scramble, he beat the bugs to Manny's arm. Limp and a shell of the sock puppet he once was, he slid on to his original spot he griped about so many times. He sealed the knot once more, a twinge of regret for all the times he complained about the fitting. Fit and felt like home. In a sense of triumph and victory, Sako cried out in joy, but only his voice echoed off the walls. He's the song everyone's falling in love, and I'm like, he is so that song, yeah. Okay, but so this kind of is like out of the blue, but it's very important. Okay, so Manny, the maintenance puppet, was in my head like the original design for Rainbow Monsters. Okay, everybody goes through a rough design, and I really wanted in the canon universe for the Rainbow Monsters to look more like monsters. I wanted like more foam, basically like Elmo or like Cookie Monster or the Grinch. Like I wanted a more fuzzy design, and I was like, what if this was like Beta Rainbow Monster? And so that's what I did. That's what I made it. And that's kind of what Manny looks like, except he isn't a genuine rainbow monster. He's a monochrome monster. He's all gray, all white. He's in that color style. Um at the end, when I'm done talking, I will show like art sheets that I have because I'm pretty sure I drew art of every single character, colored and everything. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Even Sako has one. But basically, Manny was working alone for the longest time on Spare Love from the factory he was working in. He was made and he was a sentient puppet working alongside the humans behind the scenes in the factory, just keeping everything running. And then as the factory shut down, he was taken into Rodney and Calloway's arms, and he was told to like keep these two things up and running, the Merry-Go-Wheel of Illusion and then Christopher's Christmas Town. But as the love from the people who adored him faded because he spared some to Sako, he died. The reason why he made Sako, though, is because he spent about 10 years of that alone. No one to talk to, no one to do anything. So he made a sock puppet, and he would just sit there like a crazy madman talking to this sock puppet because it was the only way he could, like, have a conversation and feel like he was talking to somebody. And eventually, that sock puppet got his love and became a sentient puppet. And they would bicker and fight like siblings. Like, basically, this was a self insert of me and Cheese. And I died! Yeah, Mr. Maintenance Man did die. I died. But so that was the whole point of Sako. And then Sako, as he like screams in triumph, that would catch Nancy and Christopher's attention, and they'd come looking. And upon Nancy and Sako's first interaction, Sako bit Nancy. Sako is feral. Sako is like a crazy little gremlin. Sako is traumatized though. Like he canonically, the arm of his best friend, brother in bonds, is stuffed inside of his body to keep him from staying a limp little frail little sock. So yeah, it's kind of morbid. I ain't gonna hold it to you. Okay, but that is everyone I've written for. So now we go to the mess of characters that I haven't written for. But I have like an idea for every last one of them. Okay, Steam Story. You kind of already get Steam Stories from Terry Townsend. Basically, he was once a steam engine, got ran down into the ground, and then was given sentient conscious life because Terry was given a second chance, and Terry has the powers on his hands. Because, like, how Julie talks to plants, Frank is really good with bugs and stuff. Like, everyone's got like a little thing, you know? I wanted Terry to have a little thing. And Terry's thing was that green means go, red means stop, in any sense of the word. And whenever he was cleaning Steeman with his green hand, he gave Steeman life. And that's why he wears gloves now, is to hide the palms, because he's like, oh shit, dog, these shits do something. And so now he is hiding that. Oh, you know what I could do? I suppose, hold on. I could set up, oh no, how would I do that though? Oh no. Oh no. Hold up. Mm, Okay, here we go. Bop. Okay, cool. And then bop, bop. All right. So hold up. Let me pull up this bitch. Okay, let me. Gonna have to go looking for it. Hold on. Technical difficulties. And of course, this is the moment when my dogs want to be let in. Hold on. You give me 1 second and I'll be right with you guys, okay? Why the fuck does Norton? Norton here's the who? Norton needs to get the fuck out of here. Okay. So I need to find. Where would it be? It would be here, right? It would be in not phase 2. It would be in not Cowboy Sketch. Where would it be? Oh no, is it not in here? Where if I no, not in there. Down at the bottom here. No. Okay, so it's somewhere in here. Billy sketches me more. Red Zombie. Hotel. Gortober. Looney. RL. Gortober. Funsies. Persona. Haha. Number Surprise. Demon Slayer. VIP. AI. Da da. Da da. Huh. Hmm. Is it in here? No. Is it in here? No. We're getting close. Is it in here? Go away. No. Goodness, where would it be? Is it in phase 2? Just never move it? No, it's not in here. Is it in Neighbors? I don't think so. Yeah, no, because this is just the Neighbors. Oh, goodness, where would it be? You guys, this is getting difficult. Nope, not in here. Oh. Aha! Found it! Okay, cool. We're gonna open it up in here. Ah, shit. Oh, where did I find it? In here? No, it wasn't in here. Was it in... Oh no, where did I find it? Here? No, it wasn't in here. Where was it? Here? No. Damn it. Where did I find it? Okay, no, it wasn't CCP. Okay. You guys, organize your folders so we don't end up like me. Where is... There it is. Give me this. Woohoo! Yippee! Alright. Let me find you real quick. Hold up. Bring you up here. There we go. Alright. What am I doing? I was looking for, loud? Yes, I am very loud. I was looking for this. I was looking for this. Okay. But this is the folder where I literally have every single character of mine drawn in color. So this is like before Christopher, when his little shop was burning down, and then after Christopher, after like everything is solved and fixed, okay? And it's like everyone. Like, this is Nancy, you guys. This is what Nancy looks like. This is Nancy. This is the nosy, mixed, Hispanic, Afro-Latina baddie who goes around the place and sticks her nose into shit that shouldn't be stuck in and finds out all the dirty secrets so that way we can know. Yes, I'm live! Hello! Okay. This is Woodrow. This is... Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Gore warning. There will be gore here. There is gore. This is Woodrow. Woodrow is the brother of... Not brother. The father of Nancy. Woodrow gave birth to Nancy. Not birth. Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Impreg canon? No. Hello, don't worry. I'm recording this all on Studio so that way you'll be able to watch it on YouTube. But basically, we're just going over everything in What? No, it's not canon. Don't worry. Don't worry your pretty little head. This is Woodrow. His palms don't mean anything. I should clarify that. His palms don't mean shit. I just liked them because they were pretty and colorful. But this is Woodrow. His mom is Selena, if I can find Selena. Where's Selena at? Oh no. Okay, so this was... Okay. Oh no, did I never fucking make Selena? No, you guys! Selena, my beloved! No! Oh God, not the other one. Okay, hold up. You guys, I forgot to draw and color Selena. No, I literally have every other character but Selena. And Selena's like one of my favorites. You guys. It's like we have Bartholomew and we have Calloway. They're just in different files. Okay. That's Christopher. And then we have Barry. I never fully got to draw Barry, so I guess also him too. Unfortunate. Feel bad, but... My goodness, Barry was a nightmare to work around with. Then we got Rodney. Everyone say hello to Rodney. This is what Rodney canonically looks like. And I will stick by this because I love this design for him. It's a leisure suit. How you forgot? Listen, dog. Brain big, vast. Brain 100% running around. Brain crazy. This is Rodney. Everybody knows Rodney. And of course, you know Terry. We got Terry. He would never, ever pose like this. But I did it because it was fucking hilarious. Terry Cannon. He looks like a tired, disgusting old man. Wrong. He's just very, very fucking sleepy. I wanted the gloves to go up really, really high, and I still kind of do, but I don't know, because he wears gloves. I just don't know where I'd want to end them, because he's self-conscious of the scars on his body from where he got ran over, you guys. Is they remind him that his life isn't real, because he does remember, like, in his fucking, whenever he dies, like whenever he quote unquote dies in his head where he gets severed by the train, he actually wakes up on Rodney's table. Rodney when he's still Hubert, so he's like human. He wakes up on Hubert's table and he's like, "What the fuck?" Well, he doesn't say this. Okay, maybe I should be like Kenny. He's like, "Whoa, where am I? Who are you? What is this?" And Hubert has to be like, "Nah, dude, it's alright. You chill." Obviously, they don't talk like this, but I'm not serious right now. It's chill, alright? Just lay your head down. I'm fixing you up, yada yada yada. Okay? But Terry's head. No, he's not British. I'm just crazy right now. But technically, Annette is French, so she has a French accent. But he's jazzy. Motherfucker. No, God, stop! I need to talk! You guys are distracting me! This is why I don't go live. It's because I can't think straight. Oui, oui. Bonjour. Baguette. Anyways. No, so he like wakes up, but this is like where the mist comes in. The mist is the illusion of Rodney stitching him back up together and giving him the watch to give him a second chance, because Terry's original design actually didn't have a pocket watch. I included that later. Sis! Don't correct me when I'm right. But this, you guys, this is Manny. Gore warning for up in the corner. This is Manny. This is what he looked like in Technicolor. This is full gray, and this is like canonically what he's supposed to look like. He was supposed to be a rainbow monster, but since Technicolor really wasn't a thing, and they only did just like sideshows for like fixing stuff, this is what he looks like. This is my self-insert, you guys. This is Manny the Maintenance Man. You missed so much, Coda. But basically, me and Cheeseburger were like, bro, we need, yeah, I know it was a thing, but it was very expensive. Anyways, but I was like, self-inserts, and Cheeseburger was like, I want to be a sock puppet, and I was like, say no more. And so these guys exist. I can draw Socko real quick. Socko is so fucking easy to draw. Hold up. What the hell? Pumpkin? What are you doing? Get out of there! You meow for the people? Meow. Meow. No, you don't want to meow? But you need to stop fucking with my shit. Thank you. In 1932, Welcome Home set in the 60s. Yeah, I know, but shh, it's expensive, okay? I need something with gray, alright? I needed something sad and depressing. Let me have my sadness and depression. Okay, but let me draw a Socko for you guys real quick. Bro is like so easy to draw. Bam, bam. Up, bam, bam. And he has googly eyes too, I should say that. He has googly eyes. And then the colors, oh my goodness, I don't remember the colors exactly. I could be totally wrong about this. And Cheese will feel it in the Force. It's fine. I think they were dark blue. And then there was a purple part. I think the back one. And then the front was like this dark green. Pink tongue. Of course, googly eyes. But that was Sokko. Yeah, there's Cheese. Yeah, no, but this was Sokko, and Sokko would go on the arm, specifically this arm right here. This arm of Manny. And this is Manny Technicolor. Look at him in all his glory. This is Manny Full Gray, and then this is like legit, like actually the real. Oh, and this is what his helmet looks like from above. But so, right? Okay, so now we get to the complex goobers, okay? And we should probably start with Calloway and Bartholomew. Okay, so as you know, this was like the original design for Calloway. And Calloway did have the idea of like a little butler in the beginning, but I didn't know exactly what it was. That is when Cheese came to me, and then these guys were going to be the self inserts, but I took it out because it wasn't fitting properly and I didn't like it. And then we redesigned it, and that is how we got. Hold up. That is how we got him, and that is how we got them. Open, bitch, them. Okay? Now, we should start from the very beginning of this story. This is where we go in a timeline. You've had to. You speak too loud, Wolf. But so from the very, very beginning, you said to me, I did say that. I did. Let's start from the very beginning. So, let's see. Let's have this pulled up. Ah, not you. Hello? Hello? Huh? What are you? There you are. There we go. Okay. Let's pull out this real quick. Okay, so let's focus on Vincent Conway / Count Clifford Calloway. Okay, he was never introduced to the show. He's a human. When he was a human, he was born in 1925. Bitch is old. Bro was born before the Great Depression. Okay, motherfucker, ancient. Because this goes from 1920s and is set in modern day. Like if you look at Nancy Martinez now, she was born in 2001 and she is still alive. And it's 2024. This motherfucker is old. All right? But he was born in 1925. His childhood, his dad went off to war, didn't make it back. His mom, by the way, I'm making all this up on spot. His mom was the only one who really took care of him, loved his mom, but his mom got sick, died. So he kind of really had to make it on his own. And boy, howdy did he make it. He has his own whole creation thing because he loves kids. He always wanted a family of his own because he didn't get one. LOL, could not be me. But he wanted a family of his own, and he liked kids. Like he wanted to raise a family. He wanted to take care of kids. And so he like donated charities, donated orphanages, da 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 da. But he also really, really wanted to make something that was going to outlive him. At the exact same time, he also wanted to see it outlive him. He wanted to have his cake and he wanted to eat it too. This caused an unfortunate series of events, especially whenever Rodney enters the scene. Okay, so he gets his whole thing and he starts working alongside the Playfellow Factory, and it's called Conway's Creature Creation. Basically, he makes puppets, he makes toys, he has a whole thing, and he works alongside with Playfellow Factory. Like they work together, they're in cahoots, okay? That's exactly what I'm saying. Oh my god, I love looking down and reading the fucking chat. I gotta hold this shit up like I'm an iPad kid though, so that way I can be in time. But so, right, so then Hubert H. Rockford, human Rodney, so human Hubert, is born in 1940. Like I said, his life is relatively normal. Nothing really crazy happened. Just like disappointing parents who didn't support his art major. Started working under Vincent Conway. Calloway. Started working under Vincent Conway. Hubert was like, then Hubert's life started going down the drain whenever his son died and Annette got divorced, and he was kind of like grasping at straws. Calloway saw this, and Calloway was like, finally, someone I can sink my teeth into and absolutely destroy. And he basically manipulates Rodney into being like, listen, buddy, you got nothing going in your life, and I'm about to fire you unless you team up and do this crazy ass thing with me. And Ronnie's like, there's no fucking way I'm doing that. And Calloway's like, oh, so you just want to be homeless and just, do the rest for the rest of your life? And Ronnie was like, yes, I'd rather do that. And then Calloway was like, what if I could get you back your family? What if I could get you back your life? What if I could get you everything you've ever wanted and desired? Because I can, but you have to do what I say. Rodney was like, I'm listening, but only listening. Calloway explains his whole great plan of how he wants to basically immortalize himself as a puppet because he sees the Welcome Home cast and he wonders how they exist and they breathe and they live, and it obviously has to be some sort of magic or something, some witchcraft. And Rodney was like, there's no way, dog. And Calloway was like, but listen! So then they test it out. Their first test, well, first off, Rodney makes Terry, and Terry comes to life. So they're like, love, but I need to be shoved inside that puppet. So, like, it needs to be me, not love and this puppet having a mind and everything. So, although it was successful that you could bring sentience to a puppet, they did it the wrong way. An accident was born. Terry was an accident. So then, that's where they experiment first. That is why Conway adopts Donald, Christopher. He adopts Donald as a guinea pig. And for a moment there, he genuinely loves Donald like his own son. He really does. And to this day, he does. God, if there was any way he could gaslight Donald into, like, being his son again, he would in a heartbeat. But Christopher hates that old bat's ass. But he basically adopts Donald as a guinea pig, loves him, gives him enough love that he thinks Terry had, like all that, and then kills him. So that way the love can be remnant in his body and he can be shoved inside of a puppet and he'll be sentient in a puppet. And when they found out that it kind of worked, just stupidly subconscious, they're like, oh, this is great. We need to do this more. And Ronnie was like, yeah, but I don't feel comfortable killing any more kids. And so then, Conway was like, well, your son's already dead, isn't he? And Ronnie was like, I'm not doing that. And Conway was like, bro, I've killed my son. Your son died in a tragic accident. You want to see how this goes? Let's go. He was filled with love and joy the last moment up until he died, right? Like that was an accident and came out of nowhere, right? Stuff your son in a puppet. And Rodney, gaslit, heartbroken, beyond redemption, and with a gun to his head, puts the bones of his son's now desecrated grave into Barry. Welcome back, William Afton. So close. So close. Except William Afton did that shit willingly because for his son. Conway did this shit. He didn't even do this shit. Conway, the only person he killed was, yes, his son, but he never stuffed that bitch into a body. He never stuffed Christopher into a body. Rodney did all of that. So, like, yes, but also no. But I see where you're coming from, and it's so funny. But so he. Right, so Barry is born. Barry exists now. And Barry is like put into the woods and like he's living up on his own for a minute. He's not fully awake, actually. Let me take that back because that doesn't make any sense. He's not fully awake yet. He hasn't been fully woken up yet. Maybe it's a ritual or something. This is like the shady, shifty parts. The shifty parts that never got fully 100% resolved and solved because this was never fully finished. But this is a shady, shifty part where, like, yes, Barry is made, but also not. And then Rodney's like, well, I worked on my son. I'm really missing my wife. This is where Rodney goes down a rabbit hole and he's like, am I really going to kill my wife? Am I really going to kill my wife? Am I really going to kill my wife? He sends the letter. Am I really going to kill my wife? Am I really going to kill my wife? Am I really going to kill my wife? And then, by the way, all of this is fake and fictional. None of this is real. This is all fake and fictional. None of this is real. But then he does kill his wife by poisoning her pancakes with rat poison. And if you heard the whole Angel's Demise thing, and if you were here with for that, you got to hear about it. If you didn't, don't worry. I've got a recording going on. This will be uploaded to YouTube. Say hi, YouTube. And then kills his wife. But then, you know, his wife was a very famous fashionista, so like covering that entire thing up was, huh, yikes. Basically, he made a whole scandal of like fashionista gone haywire, kills herself after the loss of her son, too much burden to handle. Basically, he goes that way out. She killed herself, guys. I didn't murder her. Right. And then, of course, as I said, Maria comes in because she was the underling of Annette. She was like, you killed my boss, you motherfucker, and I know you did it, but I'm gonna gaslight you and guilt trip you real quick before I go fucking crazy. And then she gets shot. And this was the last puppet made for a while. Because then Daniel walks in. This is the sad part. This is where I have to talk about Bartholomew. Okay, hold up. Let me scoot you guys over here. Hold up. There. This is where I have to talk about Bartholomew, okay? So Daniel Mateo Martinez wasn't born until 1965. That's pretty late in the game. And then Maria was born in 1939, okay? Maria is Daniel's, Mateo, which is like, I don't know. Oh yeah, Mateo was the Matthew version in Spanish. So like Mateo is equivalent to Matthew. But Maria was Mateo's mom, and Mateo was like looking, he had a family of his own. Nancy was his daughter. He had a family of his own, and he was like, man, I really no. There's another mother. Right. Daniel has a daughter. Right. So Maria is Nancy's great grandmother. My bad, you guys. It's been a minute. Okay. But so Daniel has a daughter, and then this daughter gets married, husband goes off, doesn't come back, mother's sick on bed. That's Nancy, and then Nancy is born, okay? But mother tells Nancy, like, my father ran away. I think you can find something. It's to help you get your career on your journalism, find him, da 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 da. And it was a rabbit hole from down there. But Daniel goes to look for Maria, his mom, at the last place he thought he could find her, which was with this letter, which was at da-da-da. But it's been so many years now that it's basically like they're now puppets. Like Conway is now Calloway, Hubert is now Rodney. So basically, Daniel Mateo Martinez gets shot up by a bunch of puppets. Bro gets hit blicky by Kermit the Frog. Okay? But so, oh my god. And this is like, so Conway had a cat. And Conway really loved this cat, and he wished there was a way that he could immortalize his cat. And whenever Daniel came around and he was trying to figure out how the hell he could put an animal into a puppet, he was like, oh my god, Daniel, you are my angel. You are my saving grace. You are my Michelangelo. Daniel is then forcibly stitched together with this corpse of the cat and shoved into the body of Bartholomew. So Bartholomew technically has almost two souls possessing him, and that is Daniel Mateo mixed with a cat. So this one soul that has merged together to control Bartholomew is basically a very violent and aggressive man with all the instincts of an animal. And it is an angry spirit. An angry spirit that is still working alongside Conway. Because Conway was gaslighting and manipulating the shit out of Bartholomew because Bartholomew's other half of the soul is a very loyal pet. So, like, their whole story basically dissolves in, like, as time continues on, Bartholomew was like, my god, sir, I want to kill you. I wanted to kill you so bad, and I have no idea why. And Calloway's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die soon. So he tries to, like, basically Julius Caesar Bartholomew, but Bartholomew is no Julius Caesar, and absolutely eats the shit out of Calloway. So Calloway dies by Bartholomew's hands. Oh, Jacques! I forgot about Jacques! So Jacques, like I said, is Annette's brother, okay? He gets turned into Woodrow Woody Walker because he also looks for his sister. And this was back when they were still humans, so of course it's Hubert who has to shoot his coworker for the longest time. He dies as well. Um he was originally going to be a doctor because his parents wanted him to be a doctor, but he really had to like cover it up very well. Hubert had to cover it up because like Annette's soul is going to recognize her brother, the last member of her family. So he really had to cover that up. And then he almost immediately after he aired on the show had to dismantle that puppet. That is why he looks the way that he does. Let's see, let's see. Why is my Wi-Fi being a piece of shit? Hold up. I'm not certain. Um yeah, so basically Conway starts this shit, manipulates Rodney. Rodney doesn't go on a whole killing spree. Calloway mostly does all of the kidney killing. Rodney just stuffs the corpses into the bodies. The only one that isn't a stuffed body is Nancy, Manny, Sacco, well, kinda, Terry, and Steeman. But even then, in order for Steeman to gain like connection to Rodney and have enough sentience in life to maintain, because if Steeman went out of any love in life before Terry found out, the whole thing would be ruined. So that's how Rodney had to give up his eyeball. That's why Rodney has one eye. He had to give it to Steeman so that way Steeman would have enough life energy to last him. First test was Donald Conway, which was Christopher Christmas. And actually, the only reason Christopher exists is because Cheeseburger really, really likes Christmas. And so it was like, oh, I'll just make a whole character about Christmas. And then Lewis was made so that way it could further the horrors between Annette and Hubert. And then I wanted to make Woodrow Woody Walker because I also wanted like a really, really tall character. Which then, of course, Selena came in and stole the whole show. And then Like, my most twisted fucking character is Daniel Mateo Martinez Bartholomew. Like, Bartholomew is one of my most fucked up characters. And to be fair, which I'm really, I kind of kick myself in the butt for this. He wasn't my character. They weren't my character to begin with. Bartholomew wasn't my character to begin with. It was Cheese's character to begin with. Cheese made that character. And I just fucking stole them. Which, of course, Cheese is totally chill about. But they're like, yeah, no. Like, you love them. You created a whole story for them. You go ahead, because I could never do this, dude. And I was like, but bro, I need your help here. It's your character, too. No, so I basically got full reign over Bartholomew. Yeah, and that is the entirety. And how it was going to come to an end is that the story was going to be revealed slowly over time. I did the whole thing because it was like, oh, it got back into the clutches of the evil minds, but then they would start slipping up, and so you then in that instance you would see Bartholomew kill Calloway, and then Bartholomew, well, Mateo, the spirit that possesses Bartholomew, would be like confessing shit, being like, Rodney did all this. This is all Rodney's fault. Hubert H. Rockford, I'm coming for you next. And then the whole entire thing would change again to welcome to the welcome to the Rocksmith home. And you would like get to see the sweet wholesome moments between them before it all started falling apart and caving in, because Terry is looking for Rodney, and Nancy and Christopher and everybody is looking, basically everyone is looking for Rodney, and soon his whole house would like fall apart and crumble. And once it did that and everything was aired out in the open, how would I conclude that? I know Annette would be whooped. Like, when I say Annette fell harder, oh my goodness. Their love is totally, like, it is so bad, y'all. Because I know Annette would, in fact, would still be with Rodney even after learning all that. Like she would hold him. She would definitely manipulate the shit out of him. Being like, well, now you can never say no to me now that I know that you killed me, but I'm not going to leave you. Fucking till death do us part and beyond that. I know, right? Like, I too would be like, that is fucked up. He literally murdered you. But she's crazy, y'all. She's secretly insane. She's not with it. So she would definitely still stay with Rodney. They would still be a little family. And Terry would have like this unrelenting anger. He'd be like, I want, I want to kill. I want to murder. And Christopher, the first one of them all, the first one to ever die, would be the only one to like chill Terry out, be like, hey yo, dog, take it from someone who actually fucking died. It's not worth it. Please, let's go find Christmas. I just want Christmas. That's all I want. That's all I desire. I don't care if you're the Grinch for the rest of our lives. Christmas. Now. And so then they'd go and have Christmas, basically. Like, Terry would have to work through some trauma and cope, but they'd go and have Christmas. And then Mateo, my goodness, what would happen to Bartholomew? I think more than likely. Oh, what would happen to. I know, okay, so I know Woodrow and Manny, they both die on their own. Selena, what would happen to Selena and Mateo? Oh, they'd probably be trying to murder Rodney. Yeah, they would. So does that mean Annette would have to kill Selena and Bartholomew? Because I don't think Annette would like ever let anyone but herself hurt Rodney. It's like a nobody gets to kill you, love you, appreciate you, and backstab you but me. Kinda. So I don't know. I really don't know. But as you can see, because it's not fully finished, there are a couple holes or a couple issues. But yeah, that is the whole thing. That is everything. And we did that in a lot less time than I thought so. Whew. Okay, I'm gonna take a break. I'll come back in a bit and we can just chillax, draw, and if you guys have any questions, gather them up in your noggin. Oh my goodness. I think that was everything, yeah.